All right, and it's 6 o'clock, so I will call the meeting to order. Roll call. Looks like almost everybody is here. Looks like we're just missing Kelly. Does not look like there's anyone here for public comment. The correspondence I'm aware of is the thank you letter from PW Pride. It's very nice. So we move on to minutes from the July meeting.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Invoices for July were not included in my packet.
Yes, I did not receive a copy from Mark. I'm not sure what happened, but I'll make sure they're available for the next meeting. Actually, we didn't pay a lot of bills because there weren't many, except book orders.
Okay. All right, we'll skip that then until next month. Revenue and expense report for July.
So if you look at the report, we're right on schedule. There really hasn't been any major expenses. And so we're doing well. We're doing okay. Are there any questions?
I'll move to approve those invoices.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Staff update, or director's report, I guess.
So remember at the last board meeting, Remember at the last board meeting, I talked about how we're finally fully staffed? Well, I did get a resignation letter this week, so that lasted about 3 weeks. But Sherry is leaving. She's a retired teacher, and she does a lot of consulting on the side, and it's really too much to do both. So we're sad to see her leave. And well, she's leaving, I believe, September 4th. So we'll be putting out an ad, and we will not have a problem finding someone.
What does Sherry do?
Sherry's a library assistant, so she was working both at the children's desk and the adult circulation desk.
Okay, how long has she been with us?
Half a decade at least, right, Tom?
No, a year, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. And she likes to travel, and she admitted that she did take time off to travel around the world. And I like to give staff that time off, but she said, look, Tom, I'm going to be asking for more. So, but she was great with the public, and I swear she knew every person that came in the library. But we're going to miss her.
How many hours a week will that posting be?
She was working about 13 to 14, but she was budgeted for 20. So it's going to be better this way because we'll be able to find someone that will work those full hours. Building update. So let's see, a couple of things. While I was gone, we had that big storm, and staff did a great job of cleaning things up. We had some leakage in original locations. I will have to talk to Rob again. They thought the situation was fixed. There's a little bit of water that gathers in the children's room next to an outside wall. If you look on that outside wall, there is a drain pipe that is connected to the gutters. They thought they had fixed that by putting it all together, but what was it, 7 inches of rain? Really, I think overwhelmed the system. I don't know if anyone's been back yet to take a look at it because I know they were busy taking care of other issues. So I'll remind Rob about that. And then we did have leakage, new leakage, like in Rosalia's office and other places. We know that because the tiles are waterlogged and you can see the stain. So we were fortunate. We weren't like West Bend, who really got flooded. But I still need to spend some time with and talk to Rob to have someone come and look at it again. Hopefully this is just, once every time we get 6 inches of rain. But it wasn't like the last, I was not here in Port, but I think it's when you got 10 inches of rain, about 10 years, wait, no, it has to be more than that. But they had rain running down all the water, or down the stairs. So it wasn't that bad. So yeah, we're gonna have to take a look at that. We also got another complaint about the lights around the library. Steve did take a look, and come to find out that when we get a power outage, those lights need to be reset again. So sometimes they are staying on overnight. Personally, they are 100% better than what the previous lights were. And I let Rob know, I just said, I think these lights need to stay on. They're not as bright, but when they're off at night, it is really dark back there. There is one light that's over the staff door that stays on. I don't know what Rob said to Paul, City Council Paul Newmeyer, because he has received a call from them. I think if you ever have a chance, and because they're supposed to be turning off, and you drive by there at 10 o'clock at night, and you'll see how dark it is. I'm not comfortable with that. I'll have to probably talk to the police chief to get his opinion. But we have met them, I believe, halfway. I mean, the lights are so much better. They're not out like this. They're like this. They're looking down. The brightness is not there anymore. But to me, this is a liability issue. So I'm just waiting to hear any more complaints. But I just want to give you the heads up. I think we have met them more than halfway, and we'll have to see. I mean, there are people that occasionally come and use our Wi-Fi because it is available, but now it's in the dark. And so I might have more information at the next meeting. And then I'll talk about the other building issues when I talk about the construction update.
Okay. Are you done, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. I have finally had a chance. I finished school earlier this month, and I've been playing catch up for the last few weeks. And I pulled some information together, and I wanted to try to get some clarity on things, understand things a little bit better. I want to be an asset to the board and to the city and to the library. So I'd like to, this is where the spirit of this is coming from, to learn how to work with everything. I had a very brief foray in politics, didn't care for it, but it's nature of the beast. So the library board and council, as well as all the city departments and teams, have one thing in common, is that we're trustees of property that is owned by the residents. We're entrusted with performing the duties to support the continued operations of the city in the safest and most fiscally responsible ways we can. The library board has the luxury of only focusing on the one property, while council has to focus on every property. And I really sincerely appreciate the folks like Jonathan who have actually sought office to do that. With all the meetings that you folks have and the responsibilities, I honestly wouldn't want it. So I'm really glad there are people that do that. And I think all of us would also agree when it comes to priorities. with city finances that if your house is on fire or somebody's breaking in, the library is not going to be a whole lot of help. So, and we need clean water and police and fire. So on the priority list, the library understandably is lower, but especially with the storm and some of the other things that I've taken notice to, I feel like the library really needs to, as far as the building itself and the care and keeping of it, needs to be addressed sooner rather than later. And so last month's meeting, Tom had presented a list of items for repair for the building, and it was for infrastructure repairs. And I was doing lots of really dry reading, the Wisconsin Statute 43. The responsibility of the director, one of them is to report the needs of not just programming, but the building, so that when he presented that at the board meeting last month, since we don't own the building, it was actually him notifying the board and the city eventually of the needs of repairs to the city's property. And some of these I found are really kind of concerning, truly from a safety perspective. I did about 35 years in EMS and fire, and just being conscientious of things as well. So one of the things in the assistant director's email for storm damage was the gas meter closet, and that there was a strong smell of gas in that. I contacted a friend back home who's a Pennsylvania State fire instructor. He's currently a fire chief. And he's reinforced what I had figured was that you are not supposed to smell gas at all. And We Energy site even has a blurb on there to leave the area immediately and call us from a safe location. Natural gas is odorless and colorless. The odor is put in there as a warning sign. And even though that is vented to the outside, it's obviously not vented well enough because you can smell the gas, quote, strongly in the closet. To what extent is the concentration of that gas where it presents an ignition hazard? I don't know. But I do know from running fire that with CO2 and gas, if you open the door and air it out, that eliminates the opportunity to get a good read on it. So opening the door to that closet is not the solution. My opinion is getting the fire department to come over before anybody goes in that building again, honestly, and taking a read on that closed gas meter closet to find out what the concentration is. Does We Energies need to come out or whoever and address that? Our gas company back home, every 4 or 5 years, literally blew up a house because of gas leaks that were their fault. It would absolutely be horrible to see something like that in this city. The email had said the technician said that it was normal. It's not normal. The smell is put into natural gas for a reason, and it's for a safety reason. Another concern is I was doing some gardening at the library, and there's the children's room emergency exit is partially blocked by a bush, so it prevents egress from the building. That is, I would imagine, a code violation that needs to be taken care of immediately, not just because it's a code violation, but it's safety, which again is the perspective I'm trying to come from. And then with the water damage too, coming into the children's room, do we need to make sure, I think we need to make sure that everything is dried appropriately. Mold grows so quickly. By the time you even see water, it's traveled oftentimes greater distances than where it ends up. Apparently it was in several places from this latest storm. Again, 7 inches is above and beyond the norm. But again, I did some more dry reading, and the building codes, section 320-1 and -2, state that buildings must be basically weatherproof. And it does go into the details of, specifying water. And water getting into the building prevents the mold issue, which is a respiratory concern. It's a slip hazard. It's been noted at the bottom of the steps. And now recently with it coming into the offices, it stands to damage the building and reduce the property value. And, in the event of the city deciding to possibly in the future sell the property, lease it out, whatever. We want to maintain that property value too by making these improvements. In addition to, my first thing is the safety. So I'm not sure how we go about making sure that the building is safe and watertight and weathertight. But I think it really needs to be a priority immediately. And with the community room too, you're even just looking at the lesser priority of what if the brand new flooring had been laid and we got water in there? It would have lasted, a few short days or weeks until it was damaged. So, and then the last part of all of this that I had wanted to bring up was I had gone through the PRA report for a building survey from 2021 that I believe is what we've talked about in the other meetings that was given to the city as part of their comprehensive evaluation of all the properties. One of the other safety things that was mentioned in that report is the top of the stairs on the clock side of the building. There's a section of concrete that's heaved up a good 2 inches and presents a significant trip hazard. That needs to be addressed as well, and not just by painting it yellow. I was kind of hoping maybe the city department's public works could maybe grind it down a little bit to make that transition a little bit better, because a secondary concern is also city liability. If somebody gets hurt on city property, there's insurance claims, anything else. It just makes the entire operational cost more expensive. But then, so looking at the PRA 2021 report and then the flexible facilities list of some of the things that are done, and I promise this is it. A lot of the things on the flexible facilities list are infrastructure issues for the building, the bathrooms, the flooring, things that make it run, the HVAC unit, plumbing issues. The PRA report mentioned that there's still cast iron plumbing. There's need for vertical ADA bars in the vertical bars in the bathrooms. They're not ADA, but ICC and ANSI do require those, I believe. And I'm not an expert on all this stuff. It was just me trying to pull things together. So these infrastructure things that the Flexible Facilities Grant is covering, again, solely my mind, is something that the owners of the building, and this would be any owner of any building, that they should be taking care of, and that the Flexible Facilities Grant would be for programming and the study rooms, the computer rooms, things to enhance the library services, not to maintain the building. So I'm also wondering if there's enough folks that would agree that we would request from the city basically a matching dollar amount for the cost of the infrastructure items that are being covered by the Flexible Facilities Grant to be given to the library, either lump sum or over a course of years, in addition to the regular operational budget the library submits, to reimburse the cost of those infrastructure items that owners of a building would normally pick up. So I know I threw an awful lot out. I have everything written down. And Justin, I don't even quite know where to start as far as, getting things done. The safety issues, I think, are a top priority, especially the gas, the children's room emergency exit, the grading at the community room door, the slab at the top of the steps. There was also a trouble alarm that was in the email that was going off. Do the trouble alarms go anywhere? A lot of times they go to a central station and they'll have a tech respond, or somebody will get a notification. I used to work in a central station doing dispatching for that. So trouble alarms aren't terribly concerning, but is there a process in effect how those get handled?
Do you want me to answer that? So yes, the fire alarm is currently shut off because of the work on the building.
Fire alarm or building alarm?
Both.
Security.
Both. There's been an issue with a lot of the dust setting it off. So I have talked to the alarm system company. They are aware of it. Police and fire are aware of it. So when they just have to knock down one more wall in the community room, that's where there'll be a lot of dust, then we can go back and readjust the system. The security alarm is very, very sensitive. It's
Is it a motion detector?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same company who does City Hall, and the City Hall, has where, they've had to troubleshoot making sure that it doesn't go off.
Right, and with those plastic hangings, that absolutely could
Right.
trigger a motion.
So in response to some of the issues you brought up, I can contact We Energies first thing in the morning. I have been told that that smell was okay since I've been here, but I can, okay. I will double check with We Energies and I'll call the fire department.
Yeah, it really depends on the concentration. I mean, you're supposed to smell it if it's leaking. It's kind of like oil in your car. It's a closed system. So it really shouldn't be coming out unless there's some kind of a pressure valve
Right.
to it, and that should be vented outside
Yeah, so
anyway. So yeah, that's,
I can double check with,
yeah.
I can do that right away. In terms of the other issues, they have been brought to the city's attention. I will need to talk to Rob and talk to him again about some of these things that still need to be corrected.
Okay. Would it help to have a meeting with Rob, with myself, another board member, or other board members?
I am not sure.
Okay,
I would have to talk to Rob.
yeah, especially because of the safety nature,
Sure, absolutely.
and city liability.
Yeah, I'll talk to him first thing in the morning and talk to him about our concerns, and we can move forward. I'll let everyone know. And I appreciate you bringing this up. A lot of some of them, like I said, have been looked at. They weren't completed.
Right. A lot of these were in that 2021 PRA report, so it's 4.5 years old, and, even that concrete at the top of the steps, I think the roofing is the only thing that's been done, and door replacement
Yes.
on that list.
There actually is another report
Okay,
by the city's insurance company, a gentleman who went in, and so I will let them know as well.
okay. Yeah, I just, the concern, because you brought up that list, and it was 1.6 million, and that is a hunk of money. But most of those items have been on that list in the PRA report for 4.5 years. And I feel like, and I could be totally off base, but if Public Works, and they do a phenomenal job. This city is absolutely gorgeous. Since moving here, the attention to detail, the parks are immaculate. City Hall's arrangements are gorgeous. But if that's the appropriate department, if we could just get a little bit more, maybe on their list a little bit more often, and take care of some of those things on that big list, we could whittle it down significantly.
Sure. I'll talk to him.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. Before we move on to anything else, I need to back up to the very beginning and apologize. We have a new board member that I forgot to introduce, and I apologize for not doing that. And I feel really, really bad about that. So Dr. McMahon had to step aside for other responsibilities, and he's appointed someone else from the school district.
Yes, hi, everybody. I'm Jane Getterman. I'm the principal at Lincoln Elementary School. I'm the veteran administrator in the district, starting my 14th year there as a principal, my 21st year as a principal overall, and my 34th in education. So I'm excited to be here. I know my grandmother, who was my first grade teacher, even though she's in heaven, she's thrilled that I'm able to be on the library board with all of you. So thank you all for welcoming me, and I'm happy to be a part of the group.
Excellent. Thank you. We're happy to have you.
Justin, I did have one more question.
Yeah,
As
please.
far as the infrastructure costs that are being covered by the Flexible Facilities Grant, would it be appropriate to make that request of council? I mean, my thought is, We could ask, until you ask, the answer's always no.
I do have one caution, just that if we were to move forward with something like that, that we do look pretty deeply into the grant language specifically, and that there wouldn't be anything that could interfere with the grant money we were awarded by making such a request.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the grant is set. We can't add anything to it because there's no extra money at this time. So it will have to be something additional. And I'll talk about it in a few minutes
Okay.
because I have some more information regarding the 26 budget update.
Okay, yeah, and I don't know if I'm understanding you correctly. Is the concern that if the city would grant that request, that it would be in some kind of a conflict with monies received for the budget?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're real clear on that in terms of the grant before moving forward.
Okay,
I think part of your concern may also be the fact that we're using money from the grant for things that really could or should have been covered maybe by other budgets or other input, influx of money.
right, the comprehensive improvement plan, for
There's a lot of,
instance,
yeah, there's a lot of infrastructure and things like that with the bathrooms and some of those kinds of things that really should have been addressed before the grant, even without the grant. And I think that's maybe where some of your concern may be.
Yes, yes,
That's
it
how I'm
is.
hearing it.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. So what I'm saying is that, yes, we have saved the city a little bit of money by rolling some of those building items into this grant. So it is saving the city some money that way. Any other comments on this? Okay, then we can move on to the next item under new business. Oh,
Statistics.
statistics.
I was going to get there. No, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, statistics are looking pretty good. Summer reading ended on Friday. We had over 153 kids with their golden tickets, which is a great showing at the pool. And thanks to Park and Rec for hosting the event. Everyone had a great time. And it's really great, a celebration of keeping kids reading over the summer. Now, I just got the totals, and it's roughly around 729 people participated. All kids, it was all kids except, I believe, 250 adults. But the next package will have the exact numbers. So it was a really great event throughout the summer. Shout out to the staff. They did a really great job of coming up with some creative programming. They were more within budget. It's amazing what they can find on Amazon nowadays for prizes and toys and all that good stuff. But it was very well received, and we did it all on paper, and we survived. We didn't use a software package. So we're looking forward to next year. So I'm sure they already have ideas. There is a theme. I don't know what it is. We follow a national program. Some libraries have decided not to do that, but it really is so much easier to follow a national program just because a lot of the work is already done for us. The programming, program ideas, all the marketing material. So it just makes our jobs easier. But yeah, it was very successful, and I know the kids got a lot out of it.
Now you may move on.
Pardon?
Now you may move on.
Okay, thank you. So the Overdrive Advantage program, I talked about this at the last board meeting. There was a meeting on Thursday, which I wasn't able to attend, but Rosalia was able to. She actually attended the Directors Council, the monthly Director Council meeting. And then afterwards, they actually had a talk about Overdrive Advantage. And I'm just going to let Rosalia talk about what transpired at the meeting.
Hello. So, as Tom talked about last month, basically as a recap, our state shares digital materials, ebooks, e-audiobooks, and e-magazines through Wisconsin's Digital Library. The app name is Libby. So there is definitely a higher demand for items than we can keep up with in our budget as a state. So some library systems put additional money toward getting extra copies. Those are called Advantage copies. Those copies go to their system library card holders first, and then if nobody's in line for them with their system card holders, then they go to the greater level of filling holds at the state level. Some of our member libraries in Monarch are debating if they would like to get Advantage copies for their individual libraries. So if we chose to go that route, that would be W.J. Niederkron Library. We would fill holds for our W.J. Niederkron Library card holders, and then it would go to the state level after that. So Tom and I have been looking at numbers to see how many holds we have for our card holders. We've also been looking at our usage with our Hoopla subscription. And the main difference in how you access that information, Hoopla is also all digital. It does have additional content than Libby has. So there's also manga, there's music, there's movies, there's TV. But our users are using it primarily for e-audiobooks for Hoopla. So if you look at what we call the cost per circ or the cost per checkout for those items, it's actually equal to or less to stick with Hoopla. So we're thinking for our library for 2026, we would like to continue subscribing to Hoopla. It's also, you get the item right away. There's no holds in Hoopla. So there's a limit. It's like, I think it's 6 per month per card holder. So with the Libby app, you, in the Advantage route, you still have to put your name on the hold list. So you might see that your number 300, but if there's an Advantage copy, maybe you actually get it the next day. So it's not quite as user-friendly. It's a little confusing of when you're going to receive the item. So the meeting that I attended with the other Monarch directors and staff, Monarch right now does receive, they allocate $100,000 toward additional materials for filling holds for the system level. So of that $100,000, $40,000 right now is allocated to filling additional holds through the Libby app or Wisconsin's Digital Library. So another $20,000 is allocated to purchasing print nonfiction items, which back in the day when reference items were used more, it was the reference materials. Now it's just kind of more nonfiction items that other libraries might not be purchasing. And then the remaining $40,000 is used for the print in-demand collection. So if you've seen that in the catalog, like some of the best sellers, they get additional copies, and then those fill holds across the whole system. So there was a decision made that instead of the member libraries putting in more money toward the Advantage digital copies, they would like to try reallocating of that $100,000. Instead of putting $40,000 toward the digital, they want to reallocate the $20,000 from the nonfiction and $10,000 of the print, which would bring it up to $70,000 to help fill holds at the Monarch level. Some of the libraries are also going to put additional funding toward their own individual Advantage copies. So in a nutshell, Tom and I think that it is best for our library to proceed with Hoopla for 2026, relook at the numbers. We're not saying we would never do Advantage copies for W.J. Niederkron Library, but at this time it doesn't seem to be the best route for us. Does anyone have any questions? I know there's a lot of information and it's very it's confusing, and the purchase models too for ebooks are very confusing because some of them you get forever, some of them you get for just a year, some for 2 years, some everyone can use at one time. So there's a lot of different purchase models, which makes it very complex.
Do you feel like our users are aware of Hoopla and its attributes and its content?
I think that they are. I will say we don't heavily promote it in comparison to some of our other databases, merely because many libraries that have done that the usage gets so high that they cannot keep up with it and then have to get rid of it altogether. So I'm not saying that we don't promote it, but we maybe don't promote it as much as some of the other ones.
It couldn't be any worse than Libby and the lack of content at Libby, though. Is that fair to say, Tom, Rosalie?
No, actually, they provide more content.
Libby does, or Hoopla does.
Hoopla.
But if we promote it and overwhelm the system, then that could be a problem.
Yes. Many libraries around the country have
Not enough.
have gotten rid of Hoopla because they can't afford it. So we have quietly marketed just to see the use. And I will tell you, I'm really shocked by the use of the audio. 'Cause it's not even, we really got it for visual movies. It's not that, it's the
Audiobooks.
audiobooks. And as Rosalia mentioned, they don't restrict the number of titles. So it's always available. And I'm not sure how they got away with it, but they got an agreement with publishers. And it worked, but it is costing us.
Sure.
So I am taking money from, the general book budget to cover it. The first year was covered by ARPA funds, but now it's this next year and this year, it's going to be covered by the regular book budget. And it's just that it is a very easy to use product.
Sure.
And it is, the data really shows us that we're going to get close to that 50-50 print and digital. And so I think when we get closer to that, the board is going to have to decide
Sure.
what's the best way to move forward.
So you'd advocate for trying it next year with maybe some promotion and then reevaluate next fall?
Advocate for
Hoopla.
keeping Hoopla?
Yeah.
Yes, I think right now, with it being equally as cost effective as if we would put money toward the Advantage program for Libby. And like Tom mentioned, the main difference with Hoopla is, so there's this big collection of items. We're not having to purchase every single one. We just pay as people want to check it out. So it's very unique to have that. Typically with the other digital platforms, you have to buy that exact title and format and how many copies and how long you have it, and you barely scratch the surface of filling the holds. So I think at this point in time, that makes most sense for our library, but it could all also change a year from now. And hopefully publishing models do continue to improve, but that's not what we've seen as a trend in library land, where publishers for digital content are not very library friendly in the sense that they have it very locked down and it's very expensive, especially for e-audiobooks. Yep. And those have surpassed print digital books in popularity.
So worth a try and then reevaluate. Yes.
So also just keep in mind that the cost of an ebook is still around $76. And in many cases, once that circs 26 times, it has to be purchased again. That has not gone down, and more than likely it's going up. And so that's what a lot of users don't understand, that it's not the same as buying a regular book. And so,
Was that they would though, Tom? So
yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about that.
Well, the hardest part is to get people to understand that this is the future, and it's not going back. And so we as an organization are going to have to think about how do we want to meet the needs. And it's going to probably be probably in a couple of years where we'll have to decide as a board where we want to allocate the money. The state program, the Libby program, is one of the best in the country. We were one of the first in the country to provide this service to our residents, and many states would love to be able to do what Wisconsin is doing. So I know there's a lot of support to keep the program going. It's just that it's not meeting the demands of the user and it needs more money. Any other questions? Okay, great. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about phase 2 of the renovation update. That means when this project is all done, the current project is done, I did submit the CI capital improvement information to Mark, and he switched it to facilities update. So I guess there is a difference. And I still don't know what the final decision is, or where we rank, or when it's going to be started. And I'm just waiting for him to give me an idea if it's in a couple of years, 5 years, et cetera. And that list really is focused on getting windows replaced, the siding replaced, and the other 2 bathrooms remodeled. The critical is the siding, in my view, because it's really starting to chip now and it's starting to look bad. And then the windows for energy efficiency. And I will tell you, there are libraries now that are, and I'm really surprised Mequon did this, but they have put on solar panels on their library. And so it's something also to think about. Unfortunately, we're at a weird time where a lot of tax benefits and that type of thing are unfortunately going away. But we can still check in and see what the final cost will be. Regarding the library construction update, so they are making a lot of progress. The biggest thing right now is they have to put in some new cement for flooring in the main entrance area. So that is going to be closed until Wednesday. If you look at it now, it's like, do they know what they're doing? Because it looks really weird, but I'm sure they know what they're doing. So it really needs to set, and they think by Wednesday, it will be okay. So if you ever want to come by, I'd be happy to show you what they have done so far. I'm hoping this week to go and make the final decisions on the lab tables, because they're still available at that OFR. And the study rooms are going to be really nice. And so they're making really good progress. I have been happy with the people overseeing the construction. We did have an incident last week, and Rosalia handled it very well, where the workers were using sailor language when they shouldn't be in the library. So they didn't realize that their voices carried, and it was not family friendly. But yeah, it was more than that. But they handled it very well. So they've been really good at communicating with us, letting us know what's going on every day. We're sending you the weekly reports. But there's a lot that's going to happen in about 4 or 5 weeks. So when we talked to them, initially, they didn't think we would have to close the library. That has changed. So I can't just close the library. I need your guys' permission. And we don't have the exact date set, but it's probably going to be about 2 weeks towards the end of September and early October. Now, what they're trying to do, which is actually pretty efficient, is get all the flooring done and get any of the destruction part. So taking down the wall in the community room and then tearing apart the bathrooms and then laying the carpet. That's going to be the biggie. They have to bring in it's actually kind of cool. Sorry, I've worked in libraries my whole life. So they bring in this big, huge thing, machine that can lift up the shelving with the books on it. They can rip out the carpet and then put the carpet in. And it's just gonna, the whole process is gonna take longer than we anticipated. So I'm just looking for your okay. So once we know what the schedules are, that I can give them you give us the okay to shut down. And we'll try to give as much notice as possible. One of the things is like, they were worried about the carpet not coming in. Well, I guess it's coming in. The flooring for the hallway on the lower level, they were worried about, but it looks like everything's going to be available. So, and this is really probably the only time where we should have to actually close the library, because for example, they have to remove all the flooring from the stairs. And then, you know, there's a lot of safety issues involved. So,
And I would chime in, we found out Friday about needing to close the upper foyer for today and tomorrow. And just to think about the logistics of like, okay, but what if someone comes up the elevator and tries to exit that way? So we need to put sandwich boards downstairs in front of the elevator, and we need to put a sandwich board upstairs, like leading down that hallway, just to think of all the different routes. So with doing work on all of the flooring upstairs, as well as the demolition downstairs, it would be impossible to be open. And the dates they are projecting right now is about September 19th to October 3rd. So it is coming up, but got to get done.
Staffing, are you able to be in the building during it? Are we allowed to lend out material on the cart outside, using the van for delivery? Is there any, anything we can still, give to the public?
those are great ideas. We just have to do a little more discussion with staff. Definitely the full-time people will be working because they can work at their desk, and we can get some other things done. And we want to try to keep the staff as busy as possible. We can look at ways to maybe provide some service. During COVID, we opened up a window and handed out stuff through a window. It's just that it's going to be hard just because we don't know where where the materials are going to be. But no, these are things that we're going to talk about this week. And of course, we'll share all the information with the board. The more we close, the more they can get in and get everything done. And they've been really on top of things. So I'm hoping this could be a really smooth process.
And as you said, that those times are coming up quickly. We will follow our usual communication with the city around newspaper, posting, social media to let the public know that will be closed.
Absolutely.
So, sorry, guys. Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead.
What would you like the motion to be then, Tom?
Yeah, you just give the director
Okay, yeah, sure.
discretion to make the decision with the contractors to close the library.
So I guess is discussion done then? Then are we ready to?
Yeah, I don't see another way around this. I think we pretty much have to do that for the sake of the construction crew to be efficient and to minimize the amount of time where we'll be closed. Let them get in there and get everything done that they have to at the same time. And it's painful for those 2 weeks or however long it is, but that's probably the best way to do it instead of closing half of it and then 2 days later we got to close a different part of the building, and then it's just going to be safer for the patrons and staff as well.
I guess I would make a motion to close the library during renovation, flooring, and demolition work per the discretion of the library director.
A second?
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Okay, the next item, 2026 budget. still working with city administration regarding the budget for next year. The really only question they have is the estimated cost for the contracts that we have, which is contracts with, the majority is the contracts with the library system, Monarch Library System, with our collection agency, we pay for maintenance on building controls, HVAC controls, and there's a few other things that we pay, and that's about it. Like we are being charged for the use of the copy machine, but I'm still unsure which account they're taking that money out of. We are planning on getting a new copy machine that will also be a fax machine. Our fax machine is currently on the fritz, and it doesn't pay to get a new one. I've been told we can do it with the copy machine. So that's about it. I don't have any costs for, health insurance or any of that. I'm sure we will have a meeting soon, department head meeting soon to go over the costs. If there's any pay increases or any of that. So I should have more in September about the budget as a whole for 26.
Tom, can I ask a few questions?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I want to back up to new business B because I didn't have a headway in there, but I was just wondering, how old are the windows?
It depends. Some are from 1960.
Okay, that's what I thought. So they've been there since I used to come here at the library when I was like 5. Okay.
Yeah, some. There are newer ones when they put on the
Right.
new.
And then the wood, the siding, I know I've heard mentioned that there's trouble with the siding. Has anyone checked the wood underneath the siding? Because I am wondering if,
The wood is
Fine.
redwood. It was just damaged when it was painted. They used pressure washer that put in a lot of major dents, and you can't really, it costs more to fix it than to get new siding.
that's what I'm wondering, if there's damage to the wood.
Yes,
Okay, and we might find more when we take the siding off, I would imagine that,
yes.
okay. And you mentioned about how great the contractors have been and everything. One concern I have is another safety concern is, and I don't know if this is possible, but there's somebody that has a big red truck and they park it on top in the parking lot, and they park it always in that first spot, the very first spot that you can park after the drop-off one. And it's really hard to see anything beyond that. And every week I have 2 kids with me, and it's like, it's dangerous. Cars backing up, cars coming in, that red truck sticking out. It's just it's a danger.
Okay, I'll check into it.
It's just a pickup, but it's a long one. And I know it's a worker because sometimes he's out there talking. And in fact, I asked him one time, "Are you a worker?" And he said, "Yeah."
Okay.
My grandson wanted to know.
Okay.
The project lead, the lead contractors have asked any of the contractors to not be parking in that lot. So Tom and I can talk to them and have them remind
Yeah.
the crew that they're asked to use the street parking.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. That's it.
Okay. Are there any other items for discussion that are not on the agenda that anybody wants to bring up? Okay. In that case, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
A second?
Well, I need a first one.
All motion.
Second. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.